regard, defamation cases as maybe the most important or the most profound cases there are, because we only get one reputation, and you don't get a second chance once it's destroyed. To have your reputation destroyed is really to ruin everything about you. It ruins you, it ruins your family's view of you, it ruins your neighbor's view of you. You go to a party, you don't know who's looking at you sideways because they heard, you're a this or you're a that. It is an extraordinarily difficult thing to live with. And for that reason, when we represent defamation clients, it really is the most profound type case we could be handling.
Welcome to the JAKIB Halftime Show. We are coming to you live from inside the Gallery Bar Booking Games in Ocean Casino Resort. I'm Devan Kaney. I am joined by Marc Farzetta. The Eagles lead the Commanders 24-0 at the half. Marc coming off that incredible Devontae Smith reception and then touchdown. It got a little dicey there before the touchdown, but they eventually got there and also are absolutely destroying Carson Wentz. We love to see it. Marc, how are we feeling over there?
I feel like it's not even fair, is honestly how I feel right now. And I know that's a very Homer-type statement to make, but I'm watching this, and Jonathan Gannon isn't doing anything exotic. He is saying to Son Reddick, hey, go win your battle. He's saying to Brandon Graham, hey, go win your battle. He's saying to Fletcher Cox, the same thing, go win your battle. Javon Hargrave, go win your battle. And they are dominating their one-on-one battles to get the Carson Wentz. And we all knew that Carson Wentz can get a little skittish when he's in the pocket. And, oh, man, he is all over the place trying to drop back to complete anything. That one 3rd and long play that they had set up down the sideline, that was out of bounds by about 10 feet. I mean, the Eagles are just owning this game, dominating this game to the point where it looks like it's the first game the Washington Commanders ever played together. It looks like they're week one, and they are just dominating this in every usage of the word dominate.
They are doing everything that we needed them to do. They're getting inside Carson Wentz's head. They're getting to him. They're getting to the football. They're making him scramble. They're making him frantic. All that being said, is there anything that you think this team needs to improve moving into the second half? I know Jalen Hurts was a little rocky to start off the game. Even that last drive, there were a few plays where Jalen Hurts, I thought, could have just punched it in and kind of went for it and tried to throw it, went horizontal when he should have just gone straight. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly nitpick over some things we want them to improve upon. That little end around with Zach Pascal, I could certainly do without that. I'd rather do what Jason Kelsey said earlier in the week with his brother Travis on their podcast, where they said 4th and 1, but by all context, they said 4th and 1 at the goal line. But 4th and 1, game on the line, the number one thing you have to do to try to get 1 yard is a quarterback sneak. And the Eagles didn't do that in that scenario. They did that a number of times there at the goal line, and they weren't able to punch it in until Jalen Hurts found Devontae Smith for that incredible touchdown, not just throw, but also reception to cap off the first half. But I've just been overall very impressed with what this team did. We had seen them in the Lions game and in the Vikings game Monday night have really quick starts and really jump out of the gates early and really come out swinging, right? Like a gunslinger through barn doors. They've just come ready to play. This time it was more of a gradual build. But the place that they're at right now, that they have kind of climbed that hill, it's a beautiful place. I mean, we're talking about some of the best football we have seen so far from the Eagles this season and maybe so far in the Jalen Hurts era. If we could say that about the first 2 weeks and really dissect the first two halves, the first half of each game, that is, and then look at the first half of this game, it's right on par, just a slower build.
And we also have to mention the sacks that this Eagles defensive line have been getting throughout this first half, especially the first quarter. It's probably the biggest criticism the team has gotten as a whole so far this season. They need to get to the quarterback. The pass rush needs to put more pressure on the quarterback, especially when it comes to Carson Wentz, because we know that when you get to Carson Wentz, you get in his head and he usually loses the ball. We're seeing that happen. Is it just that Washington's O-line is poor, or defense just came to eat today? Like what is the secret sauce happening for this defense?
Look, I think that this defensive line is playing well together, first and foremost. But after that, the offensive line of Washington is just not that good. And if you take a not that good offensive line and put a skittish quarterback behind them who's going to try to make every play and every throw, then that equation equals out to sacks. And that's why the Eagles have 6 sacks to this point in the game. The Eagles are that talented. Washington is that bad, but really the X factor is Carson Wentz is trying to step up into a pocket, but there's no place for him to step up in because the Eagles are covering their gaps so well and they're winning the one-on-one battles so well. That's really what has impressed me the most. I mean, you can talk about the passing numbers, you can talk about Devontae Smith's numbers, but to dominate an offensive line in this fashion, a week after that offensive line gave up 11 quarterback hits and 5 sacks to the Detroit Lions last week, it just goes to show you they have no answers for when you bull rush them, for when you try to win your one-on-one matchups. And that's what the Eagles are doing this week. That's what Jonathan Gannon has dialed up. It's nothing exotic, like I said. There's nothing crazy that he's doing. It's just a much better defensive line taking care of a far inferior offensive line.
One thing that I don't even know if I want to say Washington's doing well, but I guess to their credit, it seems like they're limiting the Eagles' run game a bit. Jalen Hurts has not turned on the wheels too much in this game. Again, is that all credit to Washington's defense kind of working to put a stop to that, or is that just Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni's game plan going into this game, maybe limit the run plays and focus more on the passing game?
Yeah, I think they were trying to build off of the passing game that they had with Jalen Hurts on Monday night against the Vikings, and they were trying to see if Jalen Hurts could almost let that snowball for his career, because week 1 you saw him run 17 times. They weren't designed, not all of them at least. They were definitely rushing him out of the pocket, and then you saw him settle in, get comfortable, not have a big rush in his face when he was playing Monday night. And in this game, you've seen a lot of the same things where even if he has had opportunities to run, he has held back, he's rolled out of the pocket, he's kept his eyes downfield, and the few and far between the times we saw that in the first half. But I think it's really just a presence of mind, a good presence, a right presence of mind for Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni to say, let's keep showing off that arm, because sooner or later they're going to start to bring more pressure on Jalen Hurts, and he's going to have to find his way out of the pocket. As of right now, while he has time and his offensive line is giving him that time and his receivers are getting open downfield, why not take more advantage of that? And then on top of it, it's not just downfield. You look at the slant route being run by A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith in particular, and Jalen Hurts. You want to talk about improvement from last year. Those passes are right on the money, in stride on those slant routes. Those little timing routes that they have are being executed to perfection. So I do give credit to Shane Steichen, Nick Sirianni, and obviously Jalen Hurts for executing them as well as he has so far throughout this first half.
I also love that he's spreading the ball around, right? Like we're seeing, I think ahead of this game that we hadn't seen too many receivers get touchdowns. Yes, A.J. Brown has gotten a lot of action. Yeah, we saw Devontae Smith get more involved in week 2. But now, just in the first half, we saw it Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown all have touchdowns. And I think that's really important that they're getting their reps and that they're getting those points as they are so deserving of those points. But I guess looking ahead to the second half, I mean, do we continue shutting out the Commanders? What's the key to keeping this up? Is there a mercy rule at any point? Do they need to break that out now? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, Taylor Heineke just comes in and starts playing. I don't know. But as far as I think it goes, I think they keep this up. I mean, again, to not sound like a homer, Washington has no answers for this. They got. I don't know how big their drawing board is when they go back to it at halftime, but they're going to have to do a lot of doodling on that one. Right now, the Eagles are just playing. Like before the season, we talked about how good the paper looked. Oh, how on paper, Howie Roseman really put together one hell of a team. The Eagles right now on the field are exceeding what the paper said before the season. They are just flat out dominating this football game. And if you're Washington, if you're Jack Del Rio going into that locker room, if you're Ron Rivera going into this locker room, I don't know how you're going to stop this team defensively speaking. I don't know how you're going to stop what they've been doing in that first half. And then on the defensive side of the ball for the Eagles, they're just going to keep on eating because that offensive line isn't all of a sudden going to get better in the second half.
Everybody's eating on the Eagles today. Now, Devontae Smith, I do want to talk about that because that pass was absolutely beautiful. I was getting a little frustrated after Devontae Smith made that catch, drove down the field, and then the play calls were a little iffy. There have been a few play calls so far in the first half from the Eagles offense that I'm like, I don't know if that was the best move. They could have just punched it in. I think that 4th and 1 was another example. But then Devontae did eventually get that touchdown. Talk to me about his play. We even saw him receive a punt or I think it was one punt he got. Like, so he's been all over the place this game.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's supposed to be A.J. Brown, the guy that go up and get the football no matter what, always open, right? Well, Devontae Smith has been doing that as well. The deep ball that he had to set up that touchdown before the three play calls you're talking about that, didn't exactly sit well with me either. I don't think they sat well with any Eagles fan. But you watch that play unfold. Devontae Smith goes up and gets it, puts him at the goal line, plays a physical wide receiver, and then in the touchdown reception, he's in the corner of the end zone, has to do the same type of thing, show off his strong hands. We've talked a lot about different improvements we wanted to see from the Eagles from last year to this year. Jalen Hurts' accuracy, surveying the field, all that, knowing his playbook, knowing his offense, everything. But one of the things I wanted to see was Devontae Smith last year. I thought, all right, when he gets man hands on him, he's got to be able to hold on to that football. Not college hands, but man hands. And this year, he has got the man hands going, especially on those two catches that he had, one at the goal line and the other in the corner of the end zone. And then the other one down the sideline as well. He has been playing like a guy who is already a seasoned veteran.
Man hands. That's, you know what? When you see Devontae Smith now, that's like all I'm going to think. Man hands.
There you go.
All right. Well, Marc Farzetta, thank you so much. Hopefully the Eagles can keep up the incredible work that they put in the first half. I'm going to let you go and bring in John McMullen, who is going to come to us live from FedEx Field. And just kidding, I'm being told that we do not have John McMullen. No surprise, I'm sure FedEx Field's Wi-Fi is not working to its best capabilities. Thank you for tuning in. Eagles lead the Commanders at the half 24-0. Hopefully they keep this up and shut out Carson Wentz and the Commanders. I'm Devan Kaney coming to you live from the gallery inside Ocean Casino and Resort.
Regard, defamation cases as maybe the most important or the most profound cases there are, because we only get one reputation, and you don't get a second chance once it's destroyed. To have your reputation destroyed is really to ruin everything about you. It ruins you, it ruins your family's view of you, it ruins your neighbor's view of you. You go to a party, you don't know who's looking at you sideways because they heard, you're a this or you're a that. It is an extraordinarily difficult thing to live with. And for that reason, when we represent defamation clients, it really is the most profound type case we could be handling.